Good afternoon. Yesterday, Trial Chamber 1 convicted Momčilo Perišić, former Chief of the General Staff of the Yugoslav Army, for crimes against humanity and war crimes committed in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia, and sentenced him to 27 years imprisonment. Perišić was found guilty by majority in the trial chamber, Judge Moloto dissenting, of aiding and abetting murders, inhumane acts, persecutions on political, racial or religious grounds, and attacks on civilians in Sarajevo and Srebrenica. He was also found guilty by a majority of the judges, Judge Moloto dissenting, of failing to punish his subordinates for their crimes of murder, attacks on civilians, and injuring and wounding civilians during the rocket attacks on Zagreb, which took place on the 2nd and 3rd of May 1995. Perišić was unanimously acquitted of charges of aiding and abetting extermination as a crime against humanity in Srebrenica and of command responsibility in relation to crimes in Sarajevo and Srebrenica. Yesterday's judgment is the first handed down by the Tribunal in a case against an official of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia for crimes committed in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'll turn next to the case of Šefket Kabashi, who appeared as a witness in the retrial of Haradinaj and others on the 22nd of August. In an order issued last Friday, the 2nd of September, the trial chamber directed the prosecutor to investigate the issue of Kabashi's repeated refusal to answer questions during this appearance and to examine whether there are grounds for the preparation and submission of a new indictment of contempt. The chamber ordered that the prosecutor inform the chamber as to the investigation's progress by 16th of September. And in the current case for contempt of Šefket Kabashi, based on the indictment raised in 2007, the accused pleaded guilty on 26th of August to 2 counts of contempt of the tribunal for refusing to answer questions as a witness in the first trial of Haradinaj and others. Pursuant to the rules of procedure and evidence, a further hearing was held on 31st of August to allow the trial chamber to satisfy itself that the guilty plea has been made voluntarily, that it was informed and unequivocal, and that there is a sufficient factual basis for the crime and the accused's participation in it. The date of the judgment's hearing will be confirmed in due course. And in the case of Ratko Mladić, the defense has confirmed that it opposes the prosecution motion to sever the indictment and conduct 2 separate trials. A status conference in this case will take place on 6th of October 2:30 in courtroom 3, while the trial chamber continues deliberating on the prosecution motion. I'll turn now to the scheduling issues. A status conference in the case of Nikola Šajnović and others will take place on 13th of September at 2:30 in courtroom 3. And next, a reminder that the appeals hearing in the case of Milan and Sredoje Lukić will be held on 14th of September commencing at 9 o'clock and on 15th of September commencing at 10 o'clock in courtroom 3. A status conference has been scheduled in the case of Lastimir Đorđević, and it will take place on the 21st of September at 9:30 in courtroom 2. And in the case of Ante Gotovina and others, the next status conference has been rescheduled for Thursday, 29th of September at 3:30 in courtroom 3. And the status conference in the case of Vujadin Popović and others has also been scheduled. It will be held on the 4th of October at 11 a.m. The location will be confirmed in due course. The trial in the case of Jovica Stanšić and Franko Simatović is adjourned until 4th of October. This adjournment was requested by the Stanšić defense in order to assist with the preparation of the defense case of that accused. And turning now to the current courtroom activities in the trial of Radovan Karadžić, the trial chamber is currently hearing the testimony of protected witness KDZ 607. In the trial of Mićo Stanšić and Stojan Župljanin, the trial chamber is currently hearing military expert Vidosav Kovačević, who is testifying about the work of the police during the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina in 1992. This is a defense witness. In the case of Zdravko Tolmir, hearings will resume tomorrow, 8th of September at 10:30 in courtroom 3, with a testimony via video link of protected witness PW14. And I'll turn now to an update on the Tribunal's recent outreach activities. Yesterday, the Tribunal's outreach program welcomed a group of witness protection officers, prosecutors, and judicial officers from the Western Balkans for a visit aimed at sharing the Tribunal's experience of supporting and protecting witnesses both at the pre-trial stage and during the trials. The tribunal staff also shared their experience of obtaining witness statements and protecting their identity. This visit took place as part of a wider EU project aimed at strengthening the cooperation between national witness protection authorities and increasing the level of protection for individuals giving evidence in criminal proceedings. And finally, members of the public who would like to visit behind the scenes at the tribunal can do so on Sunday, 18th of September this year, as part of the 4th Annual International Day organized by the Municipality of The Hague. The doors of the tribunal will be open between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Events on the day will include presentations by ICTY officials and staff, question and answer sessions, a guided tour of the courtrooms, and an exhibition and films introducing the work of the tribunal. The ICTY welcomes this chance to present its mandate, work, and achievements to the citizens of The Hague and to the public at large. Office of the Prosecutor.
Mr. Brammertz, the prosecutor, will be in Belgrade for an official visit next week on 12 and 13 September. During this working visit, Mr. Brammertz will meet with President Boris Tadic, Minister Rasim Ljajić, in charge of cooperation, and Prosecutor Vladimir Vukcevic, prosecutor for war crimes in Serbia. He will also meet with the action team that's in charge of locating and arresting fugitives, and the action team that existed a few months ago, and arresting and those who were in charge of the arrest, the members of the operational services, so who worked on the arrest of the ICTY indictees. In particular, those who worked on the arrests of Ratko Mladic and Goran Hadžić. During this mission, Mr. Brammertz will also discuss with the authorities cooperation matters in relation to ongoing trials. There is going to be a press opportunity in Belgrade, and any details regarding this event will be communicated to the media in due course. That's it from our side.
Thank you. Any questions?
The decision on splitting the Mladic trial, when will it be known? Is it 6th October or?
No, 6th of October is the regular states conference as announced by Judge Ori. He did say at the previous states conference that although there is no date specified when the decision on the motion to sever the indictment will be made, he does not expect that to impact on the parties' preparation for the trial proper. So the pre-trial proceedings are ongoing, and that's why states conferences as well as behind the scenes 65-term meetings and other motions and agreements can be made between the parties before and while the trial chamber is deliberating on the final decision on the indictment. But the short answer is there are no deadlines prescribed by the rules for ruling on such motions, but the trial chamber is working on it and will issue the decision as soon as it is ready.
Fred, where does the Kabashi's repeated refusal to answer questions leave the Haradinaj retrial? Does that not take out one of the key witnesses you wanted to hear in that case?
It's of course a matter I'm not going to discuss here in detail because we're now we have to deal with them, and we're even instructed by the chamber to investigate. But that said, of course, it's a matter we're facing. It's a challenging matter, but we have other witnesses coming on. So let's wait and see how it proceeds. In 2 weeks, I think we go on with a number of witnesses, and it's crucial that they can come here and that we get the evidence in that case. As you know, the trial in first instance, we had huge problems with getting witnesses here. We hope that now we will be successful.
Do you have any reason to think you'll be more successful this time than you were last time?
I think we have to be very cautious with this type of case and with and the circumstances in which it's taking place. So I can't guarantee that everything will be much easier this time. it remains a very serious challenge to get witnesses in The Hague, and because there is still intimidation going on.
Are you going to raise this question inside the courtroom to address judges about intimidation, to ask for?
Do you mean? I think it is the judges very well know what is happening. It's not only something that has to be addressed in the courtroom, but also outside the courtroom.
Are you satisfied then with the cooperation of different players in this?
I think yes, we have good cooperation with the players that are involved, and it includes our colleagues in the registry, of course, but also other states, other institutions, and for them also it's challenging. It's not something you can just solve easily by having good cooperation, but it's something you need to continue to work on.
Any other?
What's the reaction of the prosecutor's office to the Perišić judgment yesterday? Are you satisfied?
We are still going through the full text of the judgment, so we will not we will not react. We have, for example, the question, will we appeal or not, that has been asked. We have a month to file a notice of appeal. We have a month to decide whether we will appeal or not. At this time, I think it's important to carefully, thoroughly go through the judgment and look at all legal aspects of the judgment. I've seen comments in the media and initial reactions, but from our side, it's very important to first do a thorough legal analysis by our team.
No more questions in the room. I'll turn to the question received as part of the interactive press briefing. A journalist has asked why and how the Tribunal makes its public exhibits available to the public and why they are not available in some of the cases via the court's records database, for example, in trials of Perlić and others, Perišić, Stančić, and Smatović, and Vojislav Šešelj, and if they are available in some other way other than the online database of documents. The public exhibits are made available to the public on the court records database for completed cases. Public exhibits tendered into evidence in ongoing cases are also available on the court records database for cases where the relevant trial chamber has made a decision to release these exhibits before the end of the trial. This is the case, for example, in the case of Radovan Karadzic. In addition, for certain ongoing cases, including that of Ptolemir, the trial chamber has made a decision to release exhibits to members of the public on request. In short, for those cases where the exhibits are not uploaded on the court records database, members of the public, including the media, can contact the press office requesting the document or the exhibit, and we will seek the permission from the chamber to share it with the public. And that's it. Thank you.